Professor David Wilson has spent the last 6 months looking into the murder of newspaper boy Carl Bridgewater and interviewing one-time suspect Bert Spencer, who has consistently denied any involvement in the boy's death.
You all right? You comfortable?
Yes.
I think the phrase that you used that I always remember was that you said to me that you wouldn't run and you wouldn't hide.
I never do.
Your alibi is that you were at Corbett Hospital all day on the day that Carl Bridgewater was murdered. There was another person at Corbett Hospital that day who, of course, was Barbara Rybold.
What about the others?
Well, but Barbara Rybold in particular was really important.
She made a written statement, I believe.
She made several written statements.
Well, OK, I didn't know that. Others who worked in the same floor space made verbal, yes, OK, he was here, but they didn't write it down. They didn't have to. The coppers at the time didn't do everything right, what I think is right. They didn't ask, will you make a statement? Will you make a statement? They didn't feel the need. Someone's already done it.
And Barbara Rybold made those statements.
Yes,
And as you know, I've tracked down those statements, and you were there when I asked her, could she say that she was there all afternoon and was able to verify that you were there all afternoon? And she can't. She can't guarantee what times you may have left Corbett Hospital all afternoon. Means that you don't have a cast iron alibi.
That
alibi is, well, it disappears, Bert.
I accept what you say. I don't have now a cast iron alibi. Do you have any evidence that I killed Carl Bridgewater? If you do, sir, bring it forward. If you don't, shut your mouth. OK? You've now annoyed me.
You get annoyed by me fairly regularly,
I do, yes.
Bert, and you threaten me quite a lot as well.
That's not threatening. It's me talking straight.
I also asked you, Bert, in relation to the Wilkes connection. What was happening the night that you took Hubert Wilkes' life? Your wife at the time made statements to various places saying that Carl Bridgewater was mentioned that night.
Well, if it was, I wasn't in the room at that time. I didn't mention it.
She says it was mentioned at the time.
I don't care what she says. I'm not rubbishing her statement. I'm saying to you, I wasn't in the room when it was, if it was. You can't just say, but she says it was. That's what I'm saying to you. That's my response.
Hubert Wilkes was goading you. I wonder if that plays a part in relation to what happened at Yew Tree Farm.
Have you spoken with Jean Wilkes, who sat in the lounge that night?
No, I haven't.
Why?
Well, because I can't find Jean Wilkes.
Well, there was no discussion of the Carl Bridgewater case. If there had have been, David, so what?
Did you and Hubert Wilkes ever discuss robberies?
We never did.
Right. OK. Now, I'm going to play you something, Bert, at the moment. I particularly wanted you to hear what your daughter said in relation to Hubert Wilkes and the discussion of robberies.
I particularly remember he would stand at the fire with his back to the fire, and I was lying on the settee. He would just constantly talk about robberies and how you can commit the perfect crime by escaping through the woods. And
I don't agree with that. Hubert Wilkes used to come to my house and drink whiskey. Never discussed robberies with me.
So your daughter's wrong?
She's made a mistake.
Well, she doesn't think that, Bert.
OK, a lot of people think I killed Carl Bridgewater. I know I didn't, but I can't change their opinion.
This is really where I'm coming to. Would you mind if I showed you something?
Show me.
These are distressing...
What do you mean would I mind? Show me.
These are distressing photographs.
Show me.
These are the crime scene photographs of Carl Bridgewater.
Right. That's at the scene, I assume?
Yeah.
Yes, OK.
That's,
so why have you showed it?
I've showed you that because I think with the fact that you no longer have an alibi, that something happened that day that involved you at Yew Tree Farm, and I want you to listen again.
I've always felt that he saw something that day that killed him inside. If a story ever came out like I'd finished my shift and I'd got a little bit of time and I thought, right, I'll go and do that errand. Then suddenly you hear a gunshot go off. And then, after it's all dispersed and you see something,
Tell me, 'cause I
can't
can't
believe
hear
what
it.
you're
I can hear
looking
some.
at and what you're witnessing and what you're seeing, and you're just horrified. I have tried to discuss that with him on an occasion, but he was very emotional.
Was that what happened?
No.
Did you go to Yew Tree Farm that day? Your daughter thinks that you did go to Yew
Yes,
Tree
I
Farm.
just heard what you said. She also thinks it was after my shift. After 5 p.m. Too late. Too late, mate. Even if I got there at 20 past, there's no gunshot. That was an hour ago.
Did you go after
No,
your
I did
shift?
not. You've forgotten the time, she said.
Did you
After
go
my shift.
after your shift?
No, for Christ's sake. What for? What? I wasn't working there that month. What for?
Well, after our first interview, I did a P scan on you.
What's that?
It means psychopathy scan. So this isn't a clinical diagnosis. This is a way that I can gain some insight into the person that I'm talking to. And the total score for you was in the high range. A total score that falls in the high range should be a cause for serious concern. It suggests that the person of interest may have many or most of the features that define psychopathy. Such a person is likely to be egocentric, callous, cold-blooded, predatory, impulsive, irresponsible, dominant, deceptive, manipulative, and lacking in empathy, guilt, or genuine remorse for socially deviant and criminal acts. And that fits you to a T.
It also fits you, you bugger. Some of the things you've said, to a T.
This is you, Bert.
So
You
you've just condemned me then, haven't you?
You are somebody that I regard
As a psychopath.
as a liar,
Yeah.
as somebody who is bent the truth, as somebody who is manipulative, as conning. You're not this kindly old grandfather figure. That's your shtick, Bert, and I see through it. And all I can say to you is, in the absence of you having any alibi, because you were there when Barbara Ribble says she cannot stand up where you were on the afternoon that Carl Bridgewater was
I'm
murdered.
not going to say, let me get a word in. I am going to get a word in, David. I think you need to see a psychiatrist. You are wrong. So very wrong. You're egoistic, all Mr. Important. What the hell does it matter what you think? The evidence shows. How the hell can I be there when I wasn't there? You'll have to prove that. Go ahead, do what you want. But I think you need psychiatric treatment, son. There's something wrong with the way you think. That is my belief.
I think now it's really a question for other people to make their decision on these kinds of things.
Well,
Because
let them
all
do
I
it.
can do is tell you what I felt, and I will raise this elsewhere.
Okay, do that.
Thank you.
Big silence in the room. He's a fucking nutcase. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
He knows that if he starts admitting that he was at Yew Tree Farm, then the police have got to be re-interviewing him.
It's all a load of absolute nonsense. It really is.
I could not believe what I was hearing.
He can't work it out, so instead of failing, he wants me as a scapegoat.
I'll certainly stand by my man. Every inch of the way.
This psychopath needs a cuddle.